environment, etc., there are always bugs. But as you all know, what does most code look like? It's ugly. It's not just ugly, there are vulnerabilities everywhere. It's a really scary world that only us puny security people understand. I'm scared, just right now. So, knowing that code is generally ugly, and knowing that the world keeps advancing, would you let human written code run inside your body? Anyone? Hell no. Okay. That's one answer. So let's consider history, right? We had the mainframe. We skipped without barely learning anything to the PC and DOS, which somebody paid $50,000 for, which was just a simple student work, right? We then forgot everything we knew and skipped to cell phones. Let's not even discuss security with everything turned on by default and not being able to disable stuff. It's basic stuff. And then we have RFID. RFID is somewhat newer technology, and the only thing that makes it different from other such radio frequency identifiers is that it's standardized and we can all use them. So, same problems again. Don't believe me? Look at all the lectures going on here, DEFCON Black Hat, etc. So, same shit, different day, and we don't learn from history. Ilya, shut up. So, say you found a bug. What do you do? And this is, of course, a bionic implant with a bug, or some sort of program running in the human body. Do you release it in full disclosure? Do you report it responsibly? Of course, right. Maybe it's running Windows CE, I'm not sure. Do we do non-disclosure? Maybe we sell it to iDefense? I'm not sure. This alone can probably, this is the entire old full disclosure debate. Taken from the security realm, the full disclosure mailing list, and just not completely and pretty much missing a lot of pieces, stuck here on the slide. Does anybody here really believe that these things become commercial, there won't be bugs in them? And again, things don't need to be malicious, right? It could be just a mistake. The power can go off. I don't know, I'm kind of stuck on this slide. So, let's patch the problems. Patches are also written by humans, at least I hope, and they don't always work. And they create their own different issues with the environment. Let's not mention service packs, which can actually require an environment upgrade. Don't know how that works in a human. So what happens if the vendor no longer exists? Do we have third-party patches? Do we trust third-party patches with our own computers, not to mention bodies? And this is pretty straightforward, but it's funny. Do we take ZERT, the Zero-Day Emergency Response Team, which I like, I'm a part of ZERT, and say, hey, you guys, can you create a patch for my body? I don't know. These are actual patches, not code fixes. So let's distribute the patches. Do we have specialized centers? Do we go somewhere, get into a big machine, stay in there for 2 hours, leave, and we are patched? Imagine the queues, one more place to queue for and maybe pay taxes for that to exist, right? And maybe it will get easier with time, and centers such as schools can give them to us. We can send it by post, right? We can send it in a letter, so somebody can pick it up, change the disk, or maybe steal our patch for free. I'm not sure. How P2P will work with that? So what's your ideas for that? Of course, this is all about cost and technology. What would you do? Anybody? What was that? Water supply. Leave the patch in the water supply. That's gotta be good. You watch a lot of science fiction, don't you? Crappy one. Okay. So, how about we send it in email? I wonder how that will be secure. How about web pages we need to go to? Man in the middle, phishing. Let's go on. What if we synchronize the bionic implants with Outlook? We can use some SDK, buggy DLLs, etc. It never ends, and well, you can see the process continuing from there. So how do these implants communicate? I'm not really sure what that's all about. Let's just move on. If they communicate. So let's do wireless or Bluetooth. Anybody has an idea what comes next? What's the next slide? Anybody? What? Wired. No, this is wireless. It's a step further. What? Sorry? Optics. Maybe we should, go to the sun, change the way it pulses so it goes through our eye, codes our brain to send proteins to our body, and okay, never mind. And science fiction, right? Doesn't have to be. Sorry? B-plug. So, some of us discussed in the past the evil idea of actual viruses going over wireless and going to an airport with the laptop that's infected. But actual airborne viruses, your body interacting with other bodies, or more like implants in other bodies, and just like the rules of absolutely regular biological epidemics, this is an airborne virus made of bits. Now, if it does synchronize with Outlook, it's like warp speed across the world and other ways of infecting people. But let's move on. So, when exploits come, viruses follow. So, what would viruses or malware, sorry for the terminology, do when they have access to the human body? I came up with two simple options here, identity theft and DOS. I'm not sure what you think about that. But it's just the basics, right? How about that? I mean, consider if they can do ransomware on your email with some lame encryption, what about ransoming your heart? These days, we have these little devices in our hearts getting implanted when we have problems. What if say you get in touch with these implants and say, look, your bypass is going to stop working in 5 hours unless you wire $1 million. Or my homework for tomorrow. I'm not sure. It's promiscuous. If it's on the internet, some kid will do it to a friend and ask for him to make his homework or give him a sandwich. So, arbitrary year again. Would we by the year 2040 have brain implants? Even simple ones. Consider extra RAM, even simple stuff like arithmetic calculation or photographic memory, whatever simple may be for the brain. I don't really know. What do you say, 2040, will we have brain implants of some sort, basic sort? Oh, come on! Too early, too late, never gonna happen? Okay, you, yeah. Why are you looking away? What do you think? Oh, somebody actually volunteered. Damn, okay.
We have them already today for blind people to make them see again.
Sorry, what?
Actually, we have those implants for blind people. Pardon? Yeah. Okay. Actually, we have those implants for blind people today already. Where they implant some electronics to and connect a camera to it, which is actually the first step to those things.
But these are
once they can make the brain understand signals from a camera, why shouldn't they, use it for night vision cameras?
That's the difference, though. Thank you. That's the difference, though, between a regular desktop to a laptop, right? The screen is outside, different device connected via an input.
No, but you have an implant in the brain.
Into the brain.
Into the brain.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
So to make the connectivity to the outside camera, which by now doesn't fit into the eye, but they're working on that. So
okay.
We are not that far away from that.
That's pretty cool. So anybody thinks this will happen? You're quiet. Anyway, so the ears, the eyes, etc., they're all input sensors, and these bionic or cybernetic devices are basically extra or alternative input sources. Just think about it this way. Will our brains be able to handle it? Maybe, maybe not. maybe we'll need an implant to make us able to handle it. So, brain hacking. I'm gonna just touch on this for 1 second, not gonna go there because it's outside of the scope and we don't have time. But just consider one thing, which may be false, it's maybe just a myth. But in 1997, during a Pokemon show, over 600 children were taken to the hospital. Now, because of all the epileptic lights, you know, red, whatever. So this was never proven as exactly related to Pokemon, but it's interesting. So this is basically a DOS to the brain via an input device, which is the eyes. What about remote code execution? Just an idea, you know, probably heard it before. And we're moving on. So brain implants, not the brain implants, are modems. They communicate with the brains, meaning we don't need to communicate with the brain. Communicating with this implant is exactly the same. It will translate whatever you want to say to the brain. So, pwn the device and you pwn the brain. Now, without brain implants, of course, there are some other basic options, such as falsifying the sensory telemetry in showing people other pictures, sounds, whatever. Torture, I don't even want to go there, and it's not just about pain. Now consider access to the brain. Actual zombie or botnet armies. This is pretty cool. So, back to Boeing 747. Are we done digging up bodies? Yes. This is no longer a guesswork or art. We're actually moving into science. We're still in early stages. Just technicians doing basic reverse engineering by behavior analysis, not even looking at code mostly. And back to the medical doctor. We asked him, will it ever be possible to understand the DNA completely? And he basically said it's amazing complexity. We just know what the genes look like. We can actually compare different genes, try and see the different relations between them that cause failures, etc. But it's of cryptographic complexity, in our words, or N equals NP. No, that's P equals NP. Never mind, sorry, slide. I'll fix it later. So, this was kind of the same way, wasn't it? As well as other things. Some things are brute force fixed, and we do have more computing power as time goes by, and we have distributed computing. Other things are fixed by math and quick, cool solutions. So, do you know your computer? Can anybody here tell me that you know everything their computer does, from the most basic logical bridges through the OS application, not to mention side issues, video card, motherboard, sound card, network? And can you actually tell me you know every instruction that goes on? So you can learn most of this and you can probably implement some of the rest. It's doable. Not very plausible though, or more like, it's not practical. We can get enough so we understand what's going on, but everything, I guess it's plausibly possible, yeah, that's cool. Because we made computers, we engineered them. At least in theory, we know everything that goes on in a computer. We know how it works. As time goes by, it gets more and more complicated, and we know less and less. Different abstraction layers along the way. So, this is the Boeing. Somebody engineered a system that's complicated. Somebody else engineered a system that connects to it or is above it. Some engineer above everybody just looked at the entire picture and said, so that's how it all connects. If the passenger or the head engineer or one of the engineers of the small devices, we may not know everything, but this is pretty neat. We can do this. So what's the difference, really? Well, let's compare DNA to binary code. And a few abstraction layers up, we can have assembly, we can have Pascal, some other upper-level language. Or perhaps, and this is really cool, this was an epiphany for me, a working environment. Imagine firing up Visual Studio and writing some DNA code, or, well, let's just leave it at that. It's not, well, yeah. So, will they have this technology by 2040? What do you say? No? Anybody else? You, falling asleep over here. Yes, you. You, yeah. What do you think? Will we have this by 2040? Let's just skip this. You're a really dead crowd.